Hello, Ames traders, and welcome to our weekly recap. So, this is the week, July 17th through the 21st, 2023. We're just looking at the banana signals on the hourly or the H1 chart. So, good segue into our disclaimers and rules. We're just looking at the banana signals, where our profit is always at 5R. We're always going for 5-to-1 profit. So with a trailing stop loss. So when the market hits 2R or 2-to-1, we move our stop to break even. When the market gets to 3-to-1 or 3R, we move our stop to 1-to-1. When the market gets to 4R, we move our stop to 2-to-1 or 2R. And these are hypothetical cherry pick trades. So results will vary from trader to trader. So we are not responsible for your personal performance. This is not financial advice. So that being said, though, even, depending on the time zone you're in, where you're at in the world, life happening, you're not going to be able to grab all of these trades. But even if you get a fraction of these trades, look where we are now. This week, we got 2R. For the week of the 17th to the 21st, the banana indicator, banana signals on the hourly, they won 2R. For the month, we're at 30R. So, but in my time zone, I'm in the central U.S., I'm in Texas. So for me, just counting the banana trades on the hourly, I would have been down -1R for my time zone. So I suggest you do this for yourself as well. If you already have the banana indicator, I suggest you go back and backtest it for yourself during the hours that you trade to see what realistically would have been your results. If you would have taken all the valid trades. So, but for me, last week I would have got 16R if I would have just traded the hourly with the banana signal. And the week before that, 5R. So losing weeks happen. Break-even weeks happen. And it's all just part of the game. Don't ever, listen to anybody that tells you that selling signals that'll tell you, oh, you'll never have a losing week. You'll never have a losing day with our signals. You're going to have 1,000%. Don't believe the hype. So, but if you would have taken all the trades on the hourly, you would have ended with 2R this week, which is on a $100,000 account. If you increase it by 2%, it's $2,000. It's a pretty good week for me. So we'll look at some of my trades. I actually ended up break even for the week. So we'll look at some of my trades and see how that happens as well towards the end. So now, that being said, let's get into it and look at starting off with the Great British Pound USD currency pair. On 17th, nothing happened. 17th, 18th, this was a beautiful signal. Broke out, good impulse move, pull back, broke the 50 EMA, pulled back to the 50 EMA, bounced off it. I saw this one, I didn't take it. I was hesitant because I don't like, as I've said before on these weekly recaps, I don't like holding in the overnight session if I'm not already positive. If I'm already positive and I can move my stop to break even, I'll hold the overnight session. But in this case, that wouldn't have been the case, so I didn't take it. But that's just a guideline. That's not part of our 4 rules and 2 filters that we use to take the banana trades. It's just a guideline, personal guideline for myself. So that's why I still counted it in the results spreadsheet this week. It was a beautiful trade. So I may be reviewing those personal guidelines in the future about holding trades overnight. Because that was our only 5R trade, 5R winner for the week this week. Then next we had a -1R. We had this great move down, and then a seed signal. Would have went to 1R, everything came back, stopped us out, loser there. And then this one, the next day, the market, another seed signal, crossed over these EMAs, then crossed back over. Nice little impulse move, gave a signal. We would have entered. And that same day on Thursday, our stop, when the market hit 2R, we would have moved our stop to break even. It would have almost hit our stop at break even on Friday, but didn't quite get there. And then went to 3R on Friday. Now our stop is sitting at 1R. And we would still be in the trade, waiting to see over the weekend, waiting to see what's going to happen. So worst case scenario, on Monday, we get out at 1R. But I didn't count it in the results spreadsheet yet. The results spreadsheet is only the closed trades for the week. So this one was not included. So we'll include it next week. Once the trade closes, then we'll add it to the spreadsheet. So worst case scenario, 1 more R. And then we get to 3R, which would bring our weekly results up from 2R to 3R for the week. So Not a bad worst case scenario. On the euro, nothing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So none of these, none of these wouldn't have been triggered. These are on the wrong side of the 50 EMA, so we wouldn't take that. And then none of these would have been triggered. This first one, this number 7, would have been the first one triggered. And this would have been a tough day. It would have been 2 rents in one day. So that's why on the results spreadsheet you see a -2R. Oh, and I said I was going to talk about some of my trades. So let me go back to the Great British Pound real quick. See, I wasn't awake for this seed signal. I did want to talk about this. I was awake for this seed signal. So for this one, I took it. It went to, my entry was a bit smaller. My stop was a bit smaller. It was about like that. It hit 3R, market hit 3R, and I got stopped out at 1R. So I got 1R on that. Here is my trade. There you see it there. There's that second seed signal. I got in there. Guys, I wasn't awake for this one. This is still... that would have been, 7, 6, 5, 4. It would have been like 4 in the morning for me, 4 or 5 in the morning when that signal happened. So, got in there, went to 3R as you can see, and then came back, got me out a little over 1R. Not bad. So, that was one of mine for the week, trading the hourly. The euro wasn't nice, -2R right away. And yeah, I believe I took that second loss on the euro actually. I believe I did take that one as well. Yeah, that's it. There you go. I got in a bit late, and then it came back and got me. Yeah. Had a little impulse move. I mean, not a super strong impulse move. I could have filtered this one, honestly. There's an impulse move there with that candle, but then the next one, it just kind of sits there. I mean, I wouldn't call this an area. This is just a swing. It's a swing, but it's not, I only call it an area if it hits more than once. I mean, if you want to get super technical, you could say, okay, it hit once, twice, 3 times. You can say these 3 bars, it hit it 3 times. But for me, I consider that all just one hit. Like, that's all just one time. And right now, that's just a swing. And when looking at structure, that's how I look at it. That's just one. So for me, that wasn't an area at that time. And then it came back down. When it made this signal, it did go down a bit more, went to 1R, but then it came back, stopped me out. So anyway, on to the yen. Nothing in the yen this week. Starting on the 17th, none of these would have been triggered. This one, we wouldn't have taken that one because there is the support area in front. This support area, it was broken, but then it hit it again. You can see when the support area was from last week. It was broken, but it was hit again, so that's how we know it could still be in play. We see that there's buyers are still at that price area. So the area that's how we know to drag the area across to keep it. Because we can see that there's still buyers there. So that support area is still there. And so then therefore, this is not a valid trade because there's a support area right in front of it. So then we skip that one. Same here with this one. And this is on the wrong side of the 50 EMA as well. So a couple things going against that one that would make it invalid. So we wouldn't take that one either. So then, that one, not on the right side of the 50 EMA. None of these would have been filled. Same with this one. The order would not have been filled. Now this one, some of our more experienced traders, the order would not have been filled. But then later on, they may have entered here. And as they see it's going up, but that's just for the more experienced stage 3 traders with the AIM strategy. This one, we're just counting these banana spreadsheets. We're just counting these banana spreadsheet trades as if you would just see the signal, put the order on, and walk away. The most stress-free way possible. So that's how we're counting these. And if that was the case, then you would have just been stopped out without the order being filled, and it would not have been a trade. So now there was one here at the end on Friday that we would still be in. The jury would still be out on this one. This one, again, this is a personal guideline. That bar is way too big. I wouldn't have entered in that one because it's just too big. It would take us forever to get the 5R. But that's just a guideline. It's not one of the 4 rules, 2 filters, so I'm going to count it. Next week when the results come in. The results, this would still be an open trade, so I haven't counted it in the results spreadsheet just yet. But the worst case scenario, we lose 1R. So worst case scenario, this one on the British pound wins 1R, and this one on the yen loses 1R. And we're still at the same, 2R for this week. On the DAX, the German DAX, nothing this week. There's too many areas. Look at this. It's just in a big range. I mean, there was a few signals like these two here, but then, there's this resistance area in front. So no, we're not going to take those. Those are invalid. These are on the wrong side of the 50 EMA. And this one here, it's right in the area. Again, this is another one of those areas that it was an area, a strong area. Then it was broken. Obviously, that was news happening right there. But then it hit again. It hit again. You can see there's sellers still there at this area. So people are still selling at that area. So when we see there's still sellers there, oh, okay, there's still sellers in this area. So that means I'm going to drag my box over that I drew so I can see there's still an area there. So that way, when that signal creates itself, we would not have entered because it's right in the middle of an area. That would be an anticipation trade. You would be anticipating, oh, it's going to break out. We don't want to trade those. We don't trade those. We wait for the breakout and the pullback and a signal before we get in any trade. So this one is a no-no. That is invalid. And then that's it. Well, again, same here with this one. Now with this one, we have this bigger area. So now it's broken out of this one. It's broken out of this area, but there's even another area, resistance area, just a little further up. So no, I say this is just in a big range. This has been in this range now all week. So no, we want it to break out of this range, either above or below, before we take any trades in the DAX. So that's why we would not take that one. And we didn't get nothing on the DAX this week. Now moving on to the Dow, the US 30 of the Dow. Nothing going on here. Again, this signal had the area in front. This signal as well. This one was tricky. But again, same rules apply. This was in the area. It did not break out of the area yet. This way, I see how a lot of people could be sucked into this one because it's a nice pin bar. Looks like it's just revving up to just break out of that area with that pin bar. But that would be an anticipation trade. You would be anticipating that it's going to break out by the way this bar looks. But that's not how we trade it. We wait for the breakout and the pullback and a signal. That's how we trade it. So that's when we would avoid that rent. But then, so it would have been a really tough one if we had taken that one. It would have stopped us out and then went immediately. So that would have been really tough if we would have taken that one too. So glad we would have avoided that one. Now, here, first valid trade of the week on the Dow, enter. It would have been a 2-to-1. So what I got up here, hit 2R here, came back, just barely got our stop at break even, and then went to 5R. So that happens sometimes. Every week, we at least get one trade that happens. It hits our stop and then goes. At least one, usually more than one. But still, we're positive for the week, as you can see on our results spreadsheet. Don't let these bother you. Don't let these get in your head. You're not doing anything wrong if you get stopped out and then it goes immediately. That is part of it, and we got to accept it. Don't let it bug you. Don't think I'm doing it wrong, or, this isn't working right, or whatever. No, it is working right. That happens with any strategy you have. Not just the banana strategy. I've tried a handful of strategies myself. Some with momentum, some swing trade reversals. All of them, this happens often, no matter what strategy you use. That you can get stopped out and then it'll go right after. It's very common. We got to accept it as part of the game. All right, and then next, the US 100 of the NASDAQ. Bunch of break-evens. So this one here, we have, again, another one is another perfect example of it was a resistance area. It broke the resistance area, but then there were still sellers there right at the same area. So that's how we know to drag this area across, that this area is still valid. There's still something going on at this area. So then once we see that, drag it across, but it broke out. This is not in the area. It broke on top of it. The signal bar is on top of the area. Take the trade. Not in the area or below it. It's on top of it. So now that's good. That's what we want to see. So we take it, still would have been a break even, and then it went right after again. But that's okay. It's part of it. We had a bunch, nothing but break evens in the NASDAQ this week. Nothing but break evens. Again, came up, came back, put our order in. We would have just had our order waiting here all night. And then we finally would have got filled the next morning. And it would have got us out of 2R. So it looks like it went up to 2R here and then came back down and just barely got us out at 2R. But then eventually went back down anyhow. So that was just fine. And another break even here to end the week. And I did take a trade similar to this one, but I didn't take it on the NASDAQ. I took it on the US 500 or the S&P. So then let's take a look at my trade there. We don't count the S&P in this results spreadsheet because this is too many markets. You don't need to follow that many. But here you go. You can see it's a very similar signal to what we had in the NASDAQ there. 17th, I believe that was the same day. Yeah. Oh, no, that was the next day. Whoops. So that was on the 18th. So that was something over here. Okay, there wasn't a signal in the NASDAQ that day, but there was one. This right here. There was one in the S&P. I got in that one. Got a little over 1R for that one as well. So, but we don't count the S&P because you don't need that many markets. Again, I know the S&P because I've traded it for 8 years. So it's part of what I look at. But if you're a beginner, if you've been trading a year, less than a year, or even 2 years or less, you don't need that many markets. It's just, this makes it more confusing than it needs to be. So maybe next year in 2024, we'll add the S&P 500 to our banana result spreadsheet. But for now, it's not necessary. Right now we have 6 markets. This is already kind of a lot. Even for experienced traders, 6 markets is more than enough. For a beginner, I mean, you don't even need this many, as you can see from our results sheet. So that's it. That's the last market. So let's go back to the results spreadsheet. And even for our results spreadsheet, we got 30R this month so far. So we could probably take out a couple of these markets and still be positive for the month. So you don't need a ton of markets. And that's why we don't include the S&P 500. It's just not necessary. Maybe one day we will in the future, but right now it's not necessary. So anyhow, that's it, guys, for this week. Again, up 2R, possibly more, depending on where our open trades close coming next week. So that's all for now, guys. For me, I believe not sure if I talked about this earlier or not, but for me, just in my time zone, I only trade from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. I'm in Texas. So for me, just the banana signals on the H1, it would have been a minus 1R for these markets. But again, you saw I traded 1 on the S&P. That gave me 1 more R. And I ended up break even for the week. So that was me. So all right, guys. That's it, guys. So you can see these results spreadsheet for yourself, and you can see my results and all the trades I made. If you become a free member, just click the link below. Become a free member for AIMS if you're not already, and you can click on each one of these trades for yourself. Each one of these trades has a link you can see what trades we took and how we counted it in the spreadsheet. If you question our results, if you question is this possible, become a free member and see it for yourself. Check us. Let us know if you think I missed one or you have a question of why did I include this one or that one. Become a free member and, check our work. Let me know if you think something, isn't real or, you're skeptical about it. You should be, you should be skeptical about it. So, but just become a free member and see for yourself. Join our Discord, our free Discord, and see our members posting their trades every trading day. So you can see their results and how these banana signals work for us. So that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, just become a free member and email us anytime. And we'll see you next week.